Hare Krishna. There was a question posted in our group, WhatsApp group. Question is, when Karna was weaponless during Kurukshetra war, Krishna instructed Arjuna to shoot his arrows on Karna on the principle of state satyam samacharet, that is, with the cunning you have to be cunning. Then in Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, while talking about the characteristics of a saintly person, Krishna says that even if someone tries to harm on you, one should not retaliate. How to reconcile these two situations? So let's make sure we understand the question. At one place, Krishna says, kill your opponent. Whereas in the other place, Krishna says, not to kill, as that is not a characteristic of a saintly person. How do we understand these two contradicting instructions of Krishna? Before we get into a detailed explanation or answer for this nice question, a very short response is, first, the dialogues happened between Krishna and Arjuna in front of Karna is in Karna Parva, chapter 90 and 91 in Mahabharata. When we read these two chapters, we don't see any dialogues or a statement where Krishna applies the principle of state satyam samacharet, that is tit for tat principle. He never says, with the cunning, you must be cunning. But certainly Krishna gives a strong instruction to Arjuna to kill Karna. He said that with your celestial weapon, throw him down. Cut off the head of your enemy before he gets into his chariot. These are the instructions that Krishna certainly gives to Arjuna. Mahabharata is of 125,000 slokas. What I am saying is only from 2 chapters in this particular Karna Parva. Not sure if this principle of being cunning to the cunning is said anywhere else in Mahabharata. There are possibilities, maybe, but not sure. The second point to be noted, that is from chapter 12, which has been mentioned here in the question, that is coming from the statement Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. What Krishna says here is Dveshta, Adveshta, never be hateful to any living entities, even if they are harmful to you. But here Krishna not saying that you should not protect yourself, or not saying that you should not do your duty. So these are the two very short answers before we now get into the detailed response, how to see this two so seem to be contradicting instructions. Let's see first why Krishna has to instruct Arjuna to kill Karna. Number one, what else do we expect as an instruction in the battlefield other than fighting with the opponent? That is the first and foremost purpose they all gathered in the battlefield. It is not a place to have gathering party, a birthday party. It is a place for death party. And these dialogues are expected during the battle in the battlefield. Secondly, if Krishna's intention for Arjuna is not to retaliate, then why even Krishna got into this war? Why even Krishna became a chariot driver? Why even the war began in the first place? To make Arjuna come all the way to this stage and then finally ask Arjuna to not to retaliate and just accept the death from his enemies. It's like doing everything and finally telling Arjuna, so be killed by not retaliating. Be a saint. Krishna would never do that. He would never like to see Draupadi as a widow. Never. Here is a third point to be noted. Initially, during the first chapter and part of second chapter, Arjuna refused to fight, giving many valid reasons. But Krishna defeated all those reasons that Arjuna gave and empowered Arjuna to fight. If Krishna wanted, he could have told Arjuna, you are the best of mankind because your reasonings are so valid, full of compassion, mercy, forgiveness, tolerance, patience, etc. But rather, Krishna said, you are fool number one. And later, after 10 chapters passed, in chapter 12, Krishna advising Arjuna to be compassionate, merciful, forgiving, tolerant, patient, etc. Well, Arjuna was thinking, is this not what I told initially in the first chapter? Now you are telling the same thing after 10-11 chapters. We are circled back to my idea of what I told initially, not to fight. And now you are telling me to be more compassionate, merciful, forgiving, tolerant. And Krishna's response is, my dear Arjuna, there is a vast difference between your compassion and mine, your tolerance and mine, your forgiveness and mine, your patience and mine. Your compassion, patience, tolerance, forgiveness are all based on attachments to your friends, relatives and family members, gurus, etc., keeping body as the identification. Whereas my compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, patience are all based on detachment, keeping Atma as the identification, not the body. Compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, patience with detachment is beneficial to both the involved parties, whereas these qualities with attachment is harmful for both the parties. Talking about responsibility, a high court judge, even if it is his own son, he has to give proper judgment. If his son has done mistake and brought to the court, a police officer must take action against the criminals. Taking action based on one's roles and responsibility for the betterment of the society is considered saintly as well. Those days the kings were called Rajarishis, meaning saintly kings. Why? Because they are given that role to be performed without attachment to the results of their action, without attachment to the object, the person whom they are dealing with, and without having any ego. Therefore, they are Rajarishis. You, Arjuna, can also be a saintly king by showing your compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, patience to the Atma, not to the body. In the battlefield, when it comes to the responsibility as a Kshatriya, as a ruler. An important point to be noted here is this fight is not between Arjuna and Karna. It is between Dharma and Adharma. Now let's see what Krishna said in chapter 2. Adveshta sarvabhutanam, which means one never show hatred towards any living entities. This includes no hatred through mind, that is thoughts, by words, by body, by action, which also implies that if someone hates us, we do not react or hate that person. If someone harms us, we do not react and harm that person. But at the same time, that to be noted is doesn't say not to save yourself. But there are great souls. They don't even care to protect themselves in such given condition. Bhakta Prahlad was an ideal example for this, where he was tossed into the fire, thrown from the cliff, but he refused to retaliate. Haridas Thakur, another great example in recent years, who was beaten up in 21 marketplaces just because he was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But he did not retaliate. These are great saints, great devotees. But the point to be noted here is neither of them are in the battlefield. Now let's take another example from Bhagavatam, that is Vritrasura. He is another great Vaishnava, great devotee Asura. He was an Asura, but was a great Vishnu Bhakta. When he fought with Indra, he was literally really fighting to the best, giving tough time to Indra. Vritrasura knew very well that he will be killed in the hands of Indra. He was not staying calm to let be killed by Indra. He was fighting until his life came to an end. That is the purpose of the battle. That's why they were gathered together to fight. So Vritrasura, while he was fighting, he was not having any hatred towards Indra at all. But he was doing his role, that is to fight his opponent. Now let's combine these two different instructions. One instruction is Arjuna fight, kill Karna. Another instruction is do not be hatred towards anyone. Now let's combine this both. Krishna's instruction is Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. It is your duty to fight for dharma. It is to your duty to fight your opponent. But when you do that, do not be hatred towards that person. I hope this helped a little bit to clear the doubt. Thank you. Hare Krishna.